Alright guys, we've been doing some bike checks of all the people that are on the channel on the regular basis. And today we are doing Vinny Mannino, and he just got his bike built up by BK, and today is officially the day we are going to see it for the first time. And Vinny actually just saw it for the first time, so let's check it out right now. Vinny's new DK. First reaction of the bike, what do you think?
It is way cooler than I thought it was going to be.
This is your first red bike?
I had a race bike that was red maybe 12, 13 years ago, and time to do red again.
I'm just glad not to see the chrome.
I know.
Here is Vinny's new bike. This thing looks awesome, man. So clean with the red. I really like what you did with this one, man. This is a really nice setup.
I'm excited for it.
We're gonna put Vinny in the hot seat right now, and Vinny's gonna go over every single part that's on the bike. So take a seat, Vin. Let's do this, man. So let's start off with the frame. What are we working with here?
This is the DK Phase. It is a 20.6. I was originally riding a 20.5. They decided to kind of change up the geometry on the bike from what I had.
About that 0.1 or
no, because when I was younger, I had this mustard yellow bike at one point. That was 27.5. So
you're used to it.
Yeah, I think we'll adjust to it pretty well. They changed a couple things up from the team frame. The bottom bracket is now lower. So
how much lower is it? So the bottom bracket is this part right here. Vinny's saying it's lower from here to the ground. What is the difference?
This one is a 1/4 inch lower than what I was currently riding.
Wow. That's going to be an interesting adapt. You know, it's going to change the way your body feels on the bike, but it could definitely be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us anything else about this frame. What's different than your last frame?
So from my last bike, I decided to go with taller handlebars. I used to ride 8.6 rise. I went up to a 9-inch rise, made them a little bit narrower. I used to run them around 28 inches wide, decided to go to 27, just because I'm not the biggest dude in the game, and decided it would probably work a little better having smaller width.
Cool.
So these are the DK Phase bars, 9-inch rise, along with the DK Phase forks. Something new that they came out with this year as well. While we're keeping up to the front of the bike, decided to lace a new set of wheels. They are Shadow symbol hubs, laced to Alienation Skylark in the front with titanium spokes. Haven't ridden titanium in a while. Decided to give it a go again. We have a 2.3 Maxxis Grifter tire. I love these tires, have ran them forever. They hold up for just about everything. So if we get to the middle of the bike, we have the Wise tripod seat and seat post combo. So it's a Wise mid-size tripod seat with the Wise tripod seat post. Going down to the center, I went back to profile cranks. I've always ran them growing up, decided to go back. They are 165mm long with a titanium spindle. One of the things I did different this time is I've always ran a sprocket bolt, and I decided to go Bossless Cranks with a spline drive 28 tooth profile sprocket.
So what he's talking about right there, you can see the crank. There is no bolt hole right here that's going through connecting to the sprocket. So the sprocket actually has splines around it, and it's stuck on just like a crank is, which makes for a really clean look.
It does. It looks way cleaner. Right now I have some temporary pedals that I just threw on. I'm waiting for a set of red premium metal pedals. I've ran them for probably the last 10 years, and they're my favorite pedals in the world. So these are some pedals I had laying around, just another set of thin metal pedals. They'll probably be off in the next few days or so. So one of the other things I have on here, I've always run for a while, is a Shadow half-link chain, one of the best in the game, and just why not get a new one, freshen it up.
So let's go into the brakes, man. What are you working with?
So brake setup I do run gyro. I run an Odyssey M2 lever, the small edition. I think because we talk about my little hands all the time, my little fingertips need to get onto that brake and lock them up. One of the cool things I like about this lever is instead of having the gyro cable kind of go out the back of the lever, they're built through the center. So it's a bigger diameter hole that allows the dual cable to actually come straight through. It allows it for a little bit cleaner of a pull. So Odyssey M2 cables, going to an Odyssey gyro. I've ran this probably for the last 5 or 6 years. It's been holding up. It's not broke. I'm not going to fix it. Down at the bottom cables are just Odyssey slick cables. I used to run the 2 into the 1, decided to go back to the dual cable setup. Just a little cleaner look. Getting to the back part, probably the oldest part on my bike right now are my brakes. They're fly brakes. I don't know if they still make them, but when I was younger, the fly brakes were the brakes to have, and I just never got rid of them. Getting to the back of the bike, we have a Shadow back left-hand drive symbol hub, same matching as the front hub. I have that laced to an Alienation Felon rim. This is the tubeless one, so you're gonna see there's a little hole here for the tubeless setup. I run tubes, so not tubeless yet. We have titanium spokes. We're gonna see how long those last with my flares.
Oh, God!
Time will tell. I used to run a 2.1 max descriptor. I decided to go to a 2.3. Since I went with the titanium spokes this time to lighten the wheel up, I wanted to give it a little bit more stability and put a fatter tire in the back. I also have Primo plastic pegs, just something clean. They slide really nice. And one of the cool parts about the back end of the bike that it was different than the previous one I had is they actually put in built-in chain tensioners. And when I was younger on other frames, I had them and they were awesome. And it's awesome to see that DK had put them on this one. And it was a surprise I actually didn't know about when I got the bike.
So what's the benefit of having built-in chain tension?
I like it because it can keep your setup exactly where you want it, so you don't have to worry about the wheels shifting. If you need your chain to be specific tightness, you can adjust it to where it needs to be. But it's more so for side to side. If the wheels shifts, the chain tensioners keep it in place. One of the things I also run on here are the ODI O grips. I've ran these for a long time, and when I was younger, I actually used to cut the grip at the 4th O. And I used to ask Brooklyn to actually stretch them over, just because I used to be pretty neurotic about having thin grips.
Yeah,
and
small hands.
time's gotten to a point where you run through a lot of grips pretty quickly, that I just said I need to ride a full size grip.
That's crazy.
So we would cut it here and stretch it to here.
Almost cutting the grip in half.
Pretty much. Yeah, I was going through a set of grips a week.
You actually have hub guards on your bike.
I do.
And you actually have a hub guard on the side you don't even have pegs on. Why do you have a hub guard on this side?
So my logic behind it is, so when I got the hubs, they came with hub guards on both sides. And I did run only the side I grinded on for a while. And when I would look down, I didn't like the way it actually looked with just the one hub guard. I think it looks way cleaner having it done on both sides. That I just left it on there. It doesn't, not for any other reason. I just think it's a cleaner look.
So you have a bike that is brakeless and you have a bike that has brakes.
I do.
So what's the difference when you ride between each one? Like, why do you pick one over the other?
It depends on the day. I think depending on what we're doing, depending on how I'm feeling, there's days I just want to kind of cruise around and flow. That I like riding my brakeless bike just because I can just kind of chill on it. Where there's days where we'll go ride and I want to do some tricks that I think having brakes does help with that. And it's for confidence and both the ability to do the trick, I think. It makes such a difference. So I really like just being able to go back and forth, and just depending on the day, it just allows us to figure out what we want to do.
So when you're riding the brake, how far do you use your brakes pulling in? Is there like a certain distance you try to go for?
I try to keep it as close as physically possible. So if I squeeze it, that's as far as we're going.
That's barely at all.
Reason I like doing that is just I want to know that they're going to lock up.
Give that a good squeeze again. Let's show everybody.
Like that's with 2 fingers, and I normally only use 1 finger.
Yeah, go ahead, give it a squeeze again. That is barely at all.
I want it to know that it's going to lock up, and when I do certain tricks, I need the brakes to lock. And the last thing I want to worry about is being able to have a longer pull, and them not catching to where I need them to catch to.
Do you put anything on your rim, like on a daily basis?
No, I mean, there's days where there's probably some dirt on there that I probably should wipe off, but it's just making sure that my rim's clean so my brakes try not to squeak and that they stop properly.
So, Vinny, why don't you explain to everybody what the Strive sticker is on your bike? It's always on your helmet, It's always on the shirt. Why don't you tell everybody what it is?
Yeah, so Strive is a business that I started. It was more of a passion project when I finally pulled the trigger. So for the longest time, while the Incline Club was still open, I used to do bike lessons every week. And it got to a point where there was a lot of kids that were getting involved, and they loved riding the same way that we loved it growing up. And one of the things I always wanted to give back and show the kids is that you can learn things in a safe environment. And one of the things I always wanted to do is make sure when kids get into it, they're doing things safely, and they also have a blast and have almost like a mentor to show them how to do it. So one of the things I told myself once the Incline Club closed, there was a lot of kids that were still interested in bike lessons. So I started my own business. It's called Strive Action Sports, and I work with kids of all ages, and it allows us to go to different skate parks, learn a ton of tricks, just allow them to have an environment that they can go to that they feel comfortable, and give them the same satisfaction that I did my whole life growing up riding BMX.
Cool. So if people wanted to contact you to do lessons, how would they get a hold of you?
The 2 different ways they can contact me is through social media at Strive Action Sports on Instagram and Facebook. I also have a website. It is striveactionsports.com.
So there you have it. There's Vinny Mannino's bike check on his brand new setup right here. And the thing looks really, really good. I'm really impressed with the color on this one. It's awesome to see Vinny with a different bike. After you see somebody with a bike for so long, it's not like you get bored of seeing it, but it's almost expected. So when you get a chance to get a different color, it almost gives you a new approach to riding. You know, you get excited about it again. It makes everything new. So all you guys out there that are like, you know, at the point where you're like, man, you know, I wish there was something different to get me a motivator, get me psyched. Try painting your bike. It's not a hard thing to do. It just takes a little bit of time, and that makes things fresh again. So we're actually going to go session on this bike for the very first time, and we're going to go have some fun. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys want to see another bike check on the channel that we haven't done, put it in the comments below and I'll do my best to get it going. So hope you guys enjoyed this one. Until next time, remember to subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching. Peace.